I'll call the meeting to order at 10:30. We've got review of the agenda and the addendum. Everything good there?
I can move.
Oh, sorry?
I can move it.
Oh, okay. We can move it. All right. And then we have, anyone have a declaration of conflict of interest?
No.
No, seeing none, we'll go to number 4, adoption of the previous minutes. Does everyone have a chance to look at the minutes? There wasn't too much there. So I have moved by Stephen and seconded by Sally that be it resolved that the Corporate Services Committee adopt the minutes of October 25th, 2021 as presented. All in favor? And is there any business arising from the minutes? No, not seeing anything. All right. On to, there's no public presentation. So on to number 7 and 7.1, the CAO clerk regarding the Palace Theater. So I'll pass it over to Katie.
Thank you, Chair Summers. So with regard to the theater, I just wanted to update the committee that we are working on a new RFP. It has not been completed at this time. We're waiting on the previous operator to clear the site of their materials so that we have a correct list to add to what is available for any possible vendors. We did receive one call feeling out if we were going to be renewing a tender at some point for the services, that they would be interested in it. So once that is firmed up, I'll have a draft for this committee to review. It will be in the new year, but at this point, it's not something that we're rushing forward anyways with the new regulations and restrictions that are coming out in the next few days. It just may, it hasn't been a top priority to get it done. We do want to get it done. It's just, it keeps falling down. Like I said, we're waiting on the previous operator to clear the site so we can do a walkthrough and have some pictures to go along with the RFP. Is there any questions on that?
Steve?
Thank you, Chair Summers. Katie, the equipment such as the projector, the sound system, anything that hard sort of stuff, that all is the property of the town, correct?
That's correct. That's all the property of the town, but we do want to do a review of the equipment to ensure that it is operational. Unfortunately, no one at the town knows how to operate that equipment, so we will need a run through from the previous operator as well on how to operate the equipment.
Okay. Okay, seeing nothing else, we have correspondence. We have a letter here from Jason Dunbar. So Katie, did you want to comment on this?
Yes, through you, Chair Summers. This was received kind of in between the council meetings when Mayor Hagman did do a nice recognition at the council meeting of the Leongs, but I had indicated to Mr. Dunbar that I would be placing it in front of this committee for any recommendations that you may have. But I do know that the Leongs did reach out, so I'm not sure where the committee would like to go with this.
Any thoughts? Sally and then Stephen.
Well, first of all, I have text from Frank Leung in response to the first article that was put in Elliott Lake today. And he said that he was most appreciative of the recognition. I shared the article with Mom and Dad. We are so touched as a family. Take great care. Hope to reach out again around the holidays. Wish you well. And from Ping, I have an email saying, "Dear Mrs. Hagman, Pat and I had the pleasure of reading the article in Elliott Lake today paper where you shared such kind words about our family. We are so warmed by the gesture and want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. When we decided to move to Blind River 40 years ago as a young family, we hoped to be able to provide a decent life for our children. Not only were we able to do that, we were also fortunate to forge lifelong friendships and truly felt that we belong to the community of loving, kind, and generous people. For that and being so much more, we will be forever grateful to Blind River. We consider ourselves fortunate to have spent the prime of our lives amongst you all as we embark on this new chapter in our lives. We will always cherish this wonderful town and all that it has given us. Thank you again. We wish you the very best in your future endeavors. I will forward this email. My question is, who owns the property beside the 17 restaurant?
17 restaurant.
Okay, so then that answers the question about calling it Liang Lane. It isn't within the town's jurisdiction to be able to do that on private property.
And I did reach out to Mr. Dunbar and thanked him for his suggestion, but I did advise him that in behind the 17, the building owners own each of their own respective areas. So it's a laneway, but it's not necessarily a public laneway. It is individually owned by the businesses. So he is aware of that. So he thought, maybe some other gesture, which I think was done on behalf of council through Mayor Hagman's address.
And there was 2 articles in Elliott Lake today.
Stephen, you had your hand up?
Thank you, Chair Summers. Yeah, that was my comment too, that to the best of my knowledge, that laneway is now private property. And I'm sure Mr. Dunbar, who lives in British Columbia, probably wasn't aware of that change. And I'm also aware that the lane that runs from Causley to Murray, like behind the Mustangs, that's also, there's pieces of property there that they own land there too. So I guess our hands are sort of tied. I did like Jason's letter though, like he didn't sugarcoat things at all by referring to some of the difficulties that they experienced as a visible minority in the community over the years. So I was pleased to see that he addressed that too in his letter. Is there, I guess the question I have is there something else that we could do to, as he said, honor is an important part of Chinese culture. I can't think of anything else other than the lane, so.
Katie?
My recommendation to the committee would be to really consider what you're opening as far as giving certain residents consideration over others. Maybe the recommendation is back to Mr. Dunbar that we do have the Muskoka Chair program that he could certainly purchase and have as a dedication to the Liangs if he felt that strongly about it. I think that council going above and beyond by making the acknowledgement at the council meeting and having it as part of the local newspaper was certainly going and showing how the community does honor the family that was here. But I would suggest that we take careful consideration into the doors that would be opened if you choose to do this for one family.
Yeah, that's what my comment was going to be, that it's like opening the proverbial can of worms or whatever, right? You do it for one and then it kind of like goes down the road where people will say, well, why wasn't I? Well, what happened? Well, what did I do? So Stephen, you had your hand up again.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Summers. We had the same discussion, I think, the previous council when there was a proposal to name Riverside Drive after a Public Works employee, correct? And once again, we were sort of outside the policy with regard to naming roads after past mayors, that sort of thing. So anyway.
Yeah, I think we've done a lot as it was. I think Mayor Hagman did a very nice job in her address, and the fact that it was in the paper, certainly they did get notice, right? And that's right. If Jason wants to do something, I mean, he can, if he wants to get some of his classmates together and they want to do something like buy a Muskoka chair and do it, that would be certainly welcomed too. So And then Katie, the parks and playground policy statement is in here too. You wanted us to look at this then as well?
My iPad has frozen. So if you could just, what was it with regard to?
So the policy 1.1.17 about
Donations.
Memorial
donations
benches.
and okay, yeah. So I guess it was just to let us know what,
Yes, yes.
okay, what was available and how it worked. Sally?
What I could do at the next council meeting is mention the Muskoka chairs again, that they are living memorials as well as for those that have passed, but and draw the public's attention to the fact that chairs can be procured through the town of Blind River and placed at a mutually agreeable location.
Mhm.
So as an example, you know, if Jason were to and friends were to purchase a chair, maybe the place that they could put it would be either in a park or someplace like that, or down at the marina. I don't know that there's room beside the 17 for a chair to be placed, but you know, there are options there. If corporate services wants me to mention that, I can do that.
I think it probably wouldn't hurt to just kind of remind the people that the chairs are there for purchase.
Yeah.
What do you think,
yeah.
Katie?
Yes, I think that's a good idea. We'll also be including it in the newsletter that goes out with the tax bills. So that will be more of a spring-based newsletter. So
Yep.
it'll go in there as well.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, there's nothing else then? There's no addendum? Katie, the next meeting, are we going into it right after this one, or are we waiting? Because was it booked for a little bit later? Are we just going from one to the other? How does it work?
We can go into the other because it's a closed meeting anyway, so we
Okay.
can go back into
Okay,
it.
so we'll adjourn this one and go into the other one then? Does that, because we are the same people, right? That go into that one,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we can adjourn at, what time is it? 10:42?
Well, I'm just
Moved by
moving, I'm just moving the motion.
Yeah, moved by Sally and seconded by Stephen, that the meeting adjourn at 10:43. See you on the other side.